one day after Typhoon Roki moved through Tokyo today. A lot of downed trees out here. Actually, just towards my right, there's a downed branch, and behind my wife here is actually filming. There's another actually downed tree back there as well. So a lot of those trees down out here saw sustained winds upwards of typhoon strength. Actually, those gusts being a little higher. So really intense day yesterday, but much calmer now. Absolutely beautiful day. But here in Yogi Park, really beautiful park out here. It's actually my first time coming through this region. I've been up here to Shibuya plenty of times, but still an absolutely great place. But that's a look at this area right now. But looking at and the main topic today is this new area just west of Guam, or west of most of the Marianas here, and that's 98. JTWC has actually upgraded this to a TCFA. JMA has it as a tropical depression, yet no really warnings put out on this as far as a future track on it, but it does continue to develop, and I would not be surprised at the very least in the next 24 hours if this does develop into a tropical storm. It actually is looking like it already is showing a lot of the signs of tropical storm intensity here as it does continue to drift off towards the northwest. But we're going to dive a little more in that into a second. I do want to also mention monsoonal flow over here in the South China Sea continuing to produce a lot of precipitation in Vietnam, and even farther off towards the west off the screen here towards Thailand, where over 100 people in the past 2 weeks have died to destructive and flooding rains out there. Actually, if we scroll over a little bit to the west and look at another satellite picture, you can see all these areas in the bright red, and those are indicating those very heavy rainfalls continuing to plague much of Thailand and upwards of Vietnam and all of Indochina, continuing to see those heavy rain showers. And actually, this is another invest tropical area out here in the South China Sea. Not expecting any development with that area as far as intensity or high winds out of it, but it is remaining convective and is remaining part of this monsoonal rains, and you can still see a lot of these flooding rains across much of Indochina, and really destructive out there, and they don't need any more as this continues to hit the area, and it does not look like it's going to let up anytime soon. And also out here in the Western Pacific, though, I do want to also mention this troughing right in here. This is actually part of the remnants of Roki farther up towards the north as it rushed off towards the north. Very clear skies across Japan today. Actually, much better day after the following of the storm with the high pressure ridging in behind it. But one of the key things about this area of high pressure ridging in behind Roki is that it's going to keep the development of this system down here, Invest 98, to the south. I call it Invest 98 now, but it is likely going to be named here in the near future. As already noted, though, it is moving off towards the northwest very slowly as it continues to develop, as indicated here on JMA's surface analysis, valid at 00 UTC. That's about 0900 Japan Standard Time. Just showing that pressure right around 1006 HPA, but I do expect that to continue to deepen today as it continues to develop. Actually, looking at a more recent water vapor imagery shown here, lots of convection around the southern periphery. Actually, Palau continuing to see rain showers down there. I just looked at an ob not too long ago. They were showing some very heavy precipitation. And also, I do want to note the center of circulation right in this region. You do see that banding coming in around the center here. So that is also indicating that if this is definitely at a tropical depression type intensity, and if not a tropical storm intensity would be sustained winds of 34 knots or greater. And just looking at the banding here and the development of this, I would not be surprised in the very least if this does continue to develop. This is also another imagery, microwave imagery, very pixelated, but it does show you some of that banding. A lot of lower clouds up here towards the north, but towards the south you do have this area in bright red, and that is showing you those heavier areas of thunderstorms. And also showing here actually of the visible imagery, you just see those bright areas of white down here towards the south. Those are also showing those areas of thunderstorms. And also you do have a few areas of cumulonimbus tops here near the center of circulation. But the big thing I do want to draw from this is that loop and that wraparound coming out of this imagery right now, and that is showing development of this. And given this wide space on this system, it is a very large one. I would not be also surprised in the very least if it does develop into typhoon intensity in the long range due to a lot of low vertical wind shear around this, and it does look like it's going to continue in high sea surface temperatures. So really a lot of conditions pointing toward the development of this system. This is just showing that wind shear chart I just noted here. Right over top of the system, about 5 to 10 knots of wind shear. 15 knots or lower is really good for development, but also out ahead of it, it is moving on a west-northwest path. It continues to be about 5 to 10 knots, and that's very optimum. So given all those reasons for likely development of the system, everybody wants to know where is it going to go. Well, right now really kind of spells bad news for the Philippines given a lot of the outlook and the model consensus consensus. For example, here starting off with the European model, been really good as far as their consensus lately with tracking these storms, and it takes it off crossing northern Luzon and heading off towards the South China Sea as a typhoon. Really spells bad news yet again for Apari if it does take this particular track here, and even in the long range Hong Kong. But the storm is still at its infancy, and it's kind of like its baby stage we like to look at, and if that is the case, though, there still could be a wide disparity in the model outlook as the system continues to become more organized. Yet this model right here has been fairly accurate at predicting these storms in a long range and over the last several systems. But also looking at GFS, another model I really do like to use, they also expect this storm to be a straight runner, and also much different than what I shown yesterday with GFS. They actually had it recurving out here towards the north and towards the northeast, just mentioning that this storm is still in its infancy, and that is just one of the examples of the change in the outlooks. But looking at this, it also is expected at this time to make a landfall along northern Luzon as a severe tropical storm, even a typhoon possibly here as it makes that landfall. But one of the main concerns with this, once again, as with the last several storms, is going to be the high amount of precip. Looking at these areas in purple and red out here, you do see those very high areas of precipitation coming on shore around the metropolitan Manila area here, but also across much of Luzon, and even some of that banding continuing to extend out towards Vietnam as well. As we already noted earlier, they don't need any more precipitation. But as that storm tracks over Luzon, it is going to remerge into the South China Sea and then continue to move off towards the northwest. So just another thing I do want to mention, it could potentially bring some heavy rains here to southern and also out towards Hong Kong and Taiwan. So we're going to continue to watch the storm as it does develop, likely over the next 24 hours. Put out another update given a future track on this, although the most logical scenario at this time would be a straight runner off towards the Philippines. So stay safe out there, and everyone continue to check back in with Pagasa if you are in the Philippines, or JTWC as well, putting out warnings on this storm. And lastly, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, as always, you can post them here at westernpacificweather.com or on the YouTube channel. So stay safe out there, everyone, and have a great day.